Dana White, when speaking of Francis Nganou, once said, "His punches are equivalent to 96 horsepower. That's equal to getting hit by a Ford Escort going as fast as it can." Now imagine that power in a boxing ring, landing a punch with 129,161 units of force on an opponent's face. This potential made Ngannou an exciting prospect in boxing. Despite his current 0-2 record in the sport, Ngannou is just getting started. His losses came against top-tier opponents, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. It's important to remember that Ngannou transitioned from MMA to boxing, and before the Fury fight, no one had really seen him box. Joe Rogan has a theory about Ngannou's potential, speculating that he could have been a boxing champion if he hadn't signed with the UFC. During a JRE Fight Companion discussion on June 22nd, Rogan reflected on Ngannou's boxing career. No one had seen Francis fight as a boxer and no one knew what to expect. But then, Anthony Joshua got to study his style and see the holes in his game, and he exploited that like a professional. Rogan suggested that if Ngannou had pursued boxing instead of joining the UFC, he might have become the heavyweight champion of the world. His guests Brian Callen, Brendan Schaub, and Brian Simpson agreed. Why did Rogan say this? Certainly, Joshua had access to footage from Ngannou's UFC fights, but Ngannou's team also had the opportunity to study Joshua's numerous professional bouts. Yet, Ngannou's rise to fame largely came from his UFC fights, where he defeated some of the best heavyweights like Cyril Gane, Stipe Miocic, Junior Dos Santos, and Cain Velasquez. His fame and opportunities in boxing may have been significantly influenced by his UFC success. Despite his fallout with the UFC over contractual restrictions and the inability to box like Conor McGregor, Ngannou's fame from the UFC likely opened doors for him in boxing. Rogan firmly believes that Ngannou could have been a formidable force in boxing if he had pursued it from the start. But what were Ngannou's initial dreams? Since he was 10 years old, Ngannou had aspirations of becoming a boxer like his idol Mike Tyson. However, his path led him to MMA, which, according to Rogan, altered the trajectory of his career. Ngannou, known for his devastating power, tried to translate his MMA success into boxing and performed admirably against Tyson Fury. But Anthony Joshua ended their bout with a knockout, halting Ngannou's momentum. Ngannou made significant money from his boxing matches against Fury and Joshua, far more than he likely would have earned in the UFC. This financial success is something the Fight Companion participants unanimously recognized. Although Ngannou has not announced his next boxing match since losing to Joshua, he has assured fans that he plans to continue competing in the ring. His longtime head coach, Eric Nicksick, has hinted at a potential timeline for his return. Will Francis Nganou return this year? Ngannou has resumed training at Extreme Couture, but remains silent about his boxing future. Even Nicksick is unsure when Ngannou will make a comeback, though he mentions that Ngannou is in good spirits and recovering well. He's healing. You're seeing the smile back on his face. He's back in the gym talking trash to Strickland and everybody around the room. That's the most important thing, Nicksick stated on the MMA Hour. In terms of details about Ngannou's return, Nicksick is in the same boat as most fans, unsure of when Ngannou will fight again. There's no pressure on the Predator, but Nicksick hopes Ngannou will return before the end of 2024. I hope so, in 2024. I hope so because I think keeping him busy has been the best thing for him. It's helped him a lot, Nicksick added. Is Francis Nganou returning soon? His inactivity on social media makes it hard to predict how long it will take for him to get back into action. However, the big question remains whether it's too late for him to make his mark in boxing, as Joe Rogan suggested. What do you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.